People don't really pay you for a certificate. They pay for how they feel in your presence. That might sound surprising, but you felt it before. Someone enters the room and everything shifts. No diploma can fully explain it. This is the mystery of inner authority, something school rarely teaches. And yet, it's the very thing that makes people trust you. From the start, we were taught to wait for approval, to gather credentials, degrees, and stamps that prove our value. And yes, those achievements matter. They reflect hard work and knowledge. But here's the truth. Some of the most transformative voices never asked for permission. They became it. They spoke from lived experience, and people listened because realness resonates deeper than polish. Carl Jung, one of the deepest explorers of the psyche, spoke of archetypes, ancient energies alive inside every one of us. You don't apply for them, you embody them. And when you do, people sense it. They don't follow you because of letters after your name. They follow you because your presence feels like truth. So ask yourself, which archetype is already moving through you? This video is about turning your story into your authority, even if you never had an impressive title, even if you don't feel ready yet, because your lived experiences carry a wisdom no textbook can teach. Your scars hold medicine. Your struggles reveal power. And what people ultimately pay for is not your resume, but your resonance. Think about it, people don't pay for information anymore. We already have more than enough. What they seek is transformation. They want to feel supported, understood, and seen. They want to experience a shift inside themselves. And transformation doesn't always require a certificate. It requires courage, authenticity, and the ability to reach the human heart. Picture this: a 25-year-old who overcame anxiety learns how to self-regulate. Then a 45-year-old executive invests thousands to learn from them. Why? Because transformation doesn't follow age, resumes, or titles. It follows truth and lived experience. That's the kind of wisdom people are willing to pay for. Still, many people keep their truth hidden. They wonder, who am I to charge for this? Jung would call that the wounded ego the shadow. And unless you claim your worth, no strategy will save you. Because people sense your energy before they ever hear your words. Energy before evidence. That's what decides whether they trust you. Think back, have you ever sat with someone who had no fancy titles, yet you leaned in closer? Their story, their honesty, their calm presence struck you deeply. That's the power of embodied truth. It's not about looking polished. It's about being real. And presence like that is what people are actually willing to invest in. Your story is your certification. Every heartbreak, every breakdown, every quiet night of healing, it all matters. Jung called this individuation, the path of becoming your truest self beneath the masks. When you walk this path consciously, your story is no longer a weakness. It becomes your strength, your license to guide others through their own darkness. Imagine two people offering the same service. One says, I have a certificate from a respected academy. The other says, I've walked this path. I've felt this pain. I've healed, and now I'll walk beside you. Who do you trust more? The first might impress your mind, but the second moves your heart. That's the difference between information and transformation. Now let's explore what makes you magnetic. It's not the degrees you hold, it's the energy you carry. When your story resonates, it becomes a mirror for others. They see themselves in your struggles and breakthroughs. That connection is priceless. Ask yourself, when have you felt drawn to someone simply because they were real, not because they had titles? Every archetype you embody has power. The healer, the guide, the rebel, they all carry authority that can't be taught in a classroom. And yet, society often tells us only formal credentials matter. But real influence flows from integrated experience. When you fully own your energy, people sense it even before you speak a word. Think about your own path. Which parts of you have you hidden to fit a mold? Which lessons have you undervalued because they weren't professional enough? Jung called this the unintegrated self, the part that knows its power, but doubts it. Owning these aspects is the first step toward becoming magnetic and credible in ways no certificate can provide. Have you ever noticed how someone's lived pain can teach more than any lecture? When someone shares their story openly, it hits deeper than polished advice. People don't invest in perfection, they invest in authenticity. And that's why your narrative, your journey, your lived experience can be your greatest authority. Let's clarify. Being educated is valuable. Knowledge opens doors and shows dedication. But alone, it doesn't move hearts. Transformation requires presence, honesty, and empathy. Those qualities are what make people trust you enough to follow your guidance. Invest in your work or let your words shape their journey. The question is, are you showing up fully? Or are you hiding behind qualifications while your story waits in the shadows? The world doesn't need more polished resumes. It needs real humans who've walked the path and survived. Every struggle you've overcome is a doorway for someone else's growth. That's what makes your work invaluable. Let's dig deeper into archetypes. You might be the healer, helping others restore balance, or the rebel, challenging systems that no longer serve. Perhaps you are the wise guide, offering clarity in chaotic moments. Each archetype has a way to create value, to impact lives, and yes, to generate income without compromising your truth. Ask yourself, which archetype are you neglecting? Have you downplayed your natural gifts because society didn't recognize them as important? The world is waiting for your unique energy. The universe responds to frequency, not credentials. When you embrace your archetype fully, opportunities, influence, and resonance follow naturally. Imagine if every person you helped could feel the depth of your lived experience. Imagine if they invested not just in services, but in the transformation that only you can provide. That's what people pay for, not certificates, not accolades, but the authentic energy and insights you bring into their lives. So let's recap. Your story is your authority. Your lived experience is your credential. Your energy is your currency. And every archetype has a unique way to impact the world. You don't need to prove yourself through external validation. You need to step fully into your truth, and in doing so become the magnetic, transformative presence others are ready to follow. Many people hesitate to charge for their gifts. They feel guilty or unworthy. Have you ever felt that too? That inner voice whispering, "I shouldn't ask for money"? Jung would call that the shadow, the part of you that doubts your own worth. Recognizing it is the first step toward freedom. You are allowed to be compensated for your truth. When you own your value, something shifts. People feel your confidence. They sense you've walked the path, survived the challenges, and integrated your lessons. They don't need to see a certificate. They already trust the energy you radiate. Have you noticed how some people just command attention without speaking much? That's embodied authority at work. Your story, your scars, your late-night reflections, they're not liabilities. They're your power. Every time you've overcome fear, heartbreak, or burnout, you've built credibility that no institution can grant. Ask yourself, if someone else's struggle inspired you, why shouldn't yours inspire someone else? The world is waiting for your lived wisdom. Have you hidden your gifts because you thought you weren't ready? Or because society told you formal credentials were the only way to matter? Jung reminds us, real influence comes from integrating your shadow and embodying your archetype. You are enough as you are. Every lesson you've lived is a bridge for others to cross. Let's explore the healer archetype. Maybe you naturally hold space for others, offering clarity, comfort, or guidance. You don't need a title to make an impact. People will invest in that presence because they feel safe, supported, and understood. Isn't that exactly what you've longed for in others too? Now consider the rebel. Perhaps you challenge the systems, question assumptions, or spark change. You might think, who am I to lead? But those who have walked your path are ready to follow your insights. Your lived perspective is the authority. And yes, influence and income naturally flow from that authenticity. Or maybe you are the wise guide. People come to you for clarity in chaos, for perspective that pierces confusion. You've spent years observing, learning, reflecting. That knowledge paired with your presence is priceless. Have you noticed how people often seek advice from someone who has truly experienced what they are going through? Every archetype has value. Every lived experience has authority, and yet many of us hesitate to claim it. Why? Because society taught us that worth must be proven externally. Jung would say, the true power lies within, in the integration of your shadow, the acceptance of your story, and the courage to show up fully. Think about this. The world doesn't need more polished resumes or shiny certificates. It needs humans who have walked the path, endured the fire, and emerged transformed. People resonate with authenticity. They invest in it. They follow it. And when you stop apologizing for your story, you invite others to step into theirs. Ask yourself, if you treated your story as sacred, how would your life change? What if every challenge you faced was reframed as a credential of wisdom? Jung called this individuation, the conscious journey into wholeness. And when you embody it, your presence becomes magnetic. People feel your authority before you speak a word. Now let's look at your relationship with receiving. Many of us were taught that taking payment for our gifts is selfish, that helping others should come from sacrifice alone. Have you felt that pressure too? Jung reminds us that denying our worth doesn't serve anyone. Being compensated for your work is part of honoring your journey and your energy. Every time someone pays you for your guidance, it's not a transaction, it's a recognition of transformation. They are investing in becoming more of themselves, in stepping into their own growth. And you, through your lived experience, hold the mirror that makes that possible. Receiving with integrity keeps the flow alive. When your needs are met, you can give fully. When you feel valued, your work deepens. You no longer serve from obligation or depletion, you serve from abundance. That is what changes communities. That is what creates healing economies. And that is what heart-led entrepreneurship truly looks like. Ask yourself, what old belief about your worth are you ready to release? What truth are you ready to claim? Remember, getting paid for your gifts isn't selfish, it's sacred. Your story, your presence, your energy, they all carry value. The world needs your authentic expression, not perfection. Your journey, fully lived, is your gift to share. You are allowed to be seen, supported, and compensated. Step fully into your archetype. Live your story without editing it for approval. When you do, you inspire others to do the same. The world is waiting for your truth. Your lived wisdom, courage, and presence can change lives. Go forward knowing that being fully yourself is not just enough, it is everything.